Have you ever stopped to think about why, despite billions of dollars invested in cholesterol-lowering drugs, heart disease remains the #1 cause of death worldwide? If you still believe the old story that fatty plaques in your arteries are caused simply because you ate a piece of fatty meat or because your total cholesterol went over 200, you are dangerously outdated. The idea that our arteries are like kitchen sink pipes that get clogged because fat simply sticks to the walls is a gross misconception that has prevented millions of people from addressing the true cause of the problem. Arterial plaque is not a passive buildup of debris. In reality, it is a result of a complex biological process. It is a wound that does not heal. It is a response from your immune system to constant aggression happening in your bloodstream every single day. Today, I'm going to open the black box of modern cardiology and show you what really causes these blockages. And more importantly, the 4 real triggers that turn your arteries into ticking time bombs. Hello, I'm Dr. Harrison Blake. I'm a physician with 15 years of clinical experience focused on longevity and functional cardiovascular medicine. My job is not just to give you a pill to mask a lab number, but to find the root cause of what is damaging your body. If you want to understand the truth that could save your life or the life of someone you love, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Comment below. Have you ever had a coronary artery calcium score done? Or do you know the current state of your arteries? Imagine that your arteries are not just inert rubber tubes, but a living and highly intelligent organ. Lining the entire inner surface of your blood vessels is a single layer of cells called the endothelium. If we could stretch out the endothelium of an adult, it would cover nearly the area of 2 tennis courts. In fact, modern medicine considers it the largest endocrine organ in the human body. It decides what enters and leaves the bloodstream, controls blood pressure, and ensures that your blood flows smoothly, like silk. A healthy endothelium produces a magical substance called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas that acts like a master conductor. It signals the artery to relax and expand when you need more blood flow, and it keeps the inner surface of the vessel non-stick. When your endothelium produces nitric oxide abundantly, platelets and cholesterol glide along the arterial wall without resistance. Nothing sticks. Nothing inflames. It's perfect protection. Atherosclerosis, the formation plaque, begins precisely when this protection fails, a phenomenon known as endothelial dysfunction. Imagine the endothelium as the asphalt on a highway. When it's new and smooth, traffic flows perfectly. But when that asphalt is exposed to chemical and physical assaults, cracks and potholes begin to appear. It's in these cracks that fat particles and inflammatory cells begin to infiltrate. Atherosclerotic plaque does not form on top of the arterial wall. It forms within the wall, just beneath that thin cellular layer. What causes these potholes in your endothelium? Not cholesterol itself. Cholesterol is circulating there all the time. The damage is caused by persistent high blood pressure, toxins from cigarette smoke, heavy metals, and most importantly, a chemical environment of high glucose and insulin. When the endothelium is injured, it stops producing nitric oxide. Without this protective gas, the artery becomes stiff and its surface turns sticky. In this vulnerable state, the immune system detects that the barrier has been compromised and sends defense cells to the site, as if trying to heal a cut on the skin. What we call plaque is, in fact, a desperate attempt by your body to patch an arterial wall that is being attacked day after day. Understanding that the endothelium is your first line of defense changes everything. Prevention should not focus only on lowering what's circulating in the blood, but on restoring the health of this vital boundary. If your endothelium is intact, cholesterol can pass through 1,000,000 times without ever causing a heart attack. To understand how sugar causes plaque, we need to talk about a process called glycation. Imagine you're in the kitchen making caramel, and you put sugar over heat. It melts, darkens, and turns into a sticky syrup, right? This same caramelization happens inside your bloodstream every time your glucose levels rise too high. Excess sugar permanently binds the proteins and fats in your arteries and cholesterol, creating toxic substances called AGEs, advanced glycation end products. The name AGEs is no coincidence. They accelerate the biological aging of your entire cardiovascular system. When the proteins in your endothelium become glycated, they lose elasticity. It's as if the flexible asphalt on that highway we mentioned turns into brittle glass. This internal caramelization stiffens the arterial walls, forcing your heart to pump harder, raising blood pressure, and causing even more micro tears in the vessels. But the damage doesn't stop there. Sugar also binds to LDL particles circulating in your blood. Glycated LDL is like a delivery container covered in syrup. It becomes extremely sticky, and worse, your cells can no longer recognize it to remove it from the bloodstream. It wanders through circulation until it finds a crack in the endothelium to lodge itself in. Here enters the true villain behind sugar, insulin. To remove excess glucose from the blood, your pancreas pumps out industrial amounts of insulin. High insulin, hyperinsulinemia, is a powerful growth signal. It stimulates the smooth muscle cells in the arteries to multiply in a disorganized way, narrowing the channel. That's why insulin resistance is statistically one of the strongest predictors of heart attack, far surpassing total cholesterol or isolated LDL. In 15 years of medical practice, I've seen this repeatedly. Patients with perfect cholesterol, but high fasting insulin and borderline hemoglobin A1C, developing severe plaque. Glycation turns a vital nutrient, glucose, into chemical sandpaper. It prepares the ground to the immune system to step in and start building plaque as a patch. If you keep your blood sugar high, you are essentially frying your arteries over low heat 24 hours a day. The big secret many ignore is that plaque is not made of fat alone. It's a mixture of oxidized fat, calcium, and fibrous tissue that the body uses to try to contain the damage caused by glycation. If you want to clean your arteries, the first step is not to run from saturated fat, but to stop caramelizing your circulatory system with refined carbohydrates and processed sugars. Without the trigger of glycation, cholesterol has far less chance of getting trapped and initiating the obstruction process. If glycation is a sticky syrup that clings to arteries, oxidation is a biological rust that destroys them. To understand why plaques form, you must realize that your body is an oxygen processing machine, but oxygen is a double-edged sword. Under normal conditions, your body has natural antioxidants that protect fats and proteins. The problem begins when that balance is disrupted and you enter a state of oxidative stress. Imagine LDL, the cholesterol transporter, as a shiny metal container. While intact, it circulates freely, but when it becomes oxidized, it begins to rust. Oxidized LDL is the real trigger of plaque. Your immune system is trained to ignore normal LDL, but it goes on high alert when it encounters oxidized LDL. Defense cells called macrophages see this rusted particle as toxic waste or an invader and attempt to engulf it. The problem is that when they ingest too much oxidized LDL, these macrophages become engorged and die, turning into foam cells that form the fatty, inflamed core of the plaque. What causes this accelerated oxidation? One of the biggest culprits in the modern diet is refined vegetable oils, soybean, corn, sunflower, and canola oils. These oils are extremely rich in unstable omega-6 polyunsaturated fats. When heated or industrially processed, they arrive at your table already oxidized. By consuming them, you are literally inserting liquid rust into your cell membranes and LDL particles. In 15 years of practice, I've seen patients cut out saturated fat like butter, but continue using soybean oil, and their arteries remain inflamed. Beyond oils, smoking, pollution, and even chronic emotional stress release free radicals that bombard your arteries. It's a multi-front attack. Oxidation ensures that whatever enters those cracks is as toxic as possible. Cholesterol alone does not cause plaque. It's cholesterol damaged by oxidation that starts the fire. That's why the traditional approach of simply lowering cholesterol numbers is incomplete. If you lower cholesterol but continue smoking and consuming trans fats and refined vegetable oils, the small amount of cholesterol left in your blood will still oxidize and form plaques. True cardiovascular protection comes from shielding your system against this rust. That means replacing industrial oils with stable fats like extra virgin olive oil and coconut oil, and increasing natural antioxidants. If your LDL particles are protected from oxidation, they can circulate freely without ever becoming the debris that clogs your heart. Many people believe plaque is just a soft ball of fat. In reality, advanced plaque is hard, rigid, and often calcified. That's why the coronary artery calcium score is so effective. It detects the biological concrete your body has deposited there. But why does calcium leave the bloodstream and settle in the heart wall? This is not a mineral mistake. It's a serious nutritional logistics failure, driven by the absence of a biological GPS called vitamin K2. Imagine calcium as a passenger who needs to get to the airport. Your bones. If there's no driver to take it there, it wanders around the city and parks in the wrong place. Your arteries and heart valves. Vitamin K2 is that driver. It activates a specific protein called MGP, matrix GLA protein, the most powerful calcium sweeper in your vascular system. When you have enough K2, MGP pushes calcium out of the arteries and directs it where it belongs. Without K2, calcium deposits on top of fatty and inflamed plaques, hardening them and making them far more likely to rupture and cause a heart attack. There's another invisible factor that acts like sandpaper on your arteries. Homocysteine. Homocysteine is an amino acid that, at elevated levels, directly damages the endothelium, creating the microtears we discussed earlier. What controls homocysteine? Your intake of B vitamins, especially B12, B9, folate, and B6. If you are deficient in these vitamins, which is extremely common in people who use acid blockers, prazols, or eat nutrient-poor diets, your homocysteine rises, sanding your vessels from the inside and facilitating the adhesion of calcium and oxidized cholesterol. In 15 years of practice, I've found that strategic supplementation with vitamin K2 -7-malonyl-CoA:s, along with magnesium and B-complex vitamins, often does more for arterial health than many low-fat diets. Magnesium helps keep calcium dissolved in the blood, preventing it from precipitating into the arterial wall. If you want to prevent your arteries from turning into calcified plaque, is a final stage of a process that began with inflammation and nutrient deficiency. When we address K2 and B12 deficiencies, we are essentially clearing the runway and ensuring that calcium fulfills its structural role in the skeleton, not its obstructive role in your heart. The solution for clean arteries is not just removing the bad, but providing the right tools so your body knows where to direct every molecule. One of the most fascinating discoveries in recent years is that plaque is not a design flaw in the human body. It's a desperate defense mechanism. Think of plaque as a biological bandage or sealant. When your endothelium is injured, whether by sugar oxidation or nutrient deficiency, your immune system steps in to prevent the artery from rupturing. However, there's a silent trigger most cardiologists ignore: subclinical infections and bacterial biofilms. You've heard that health begins in the mouth? For your heart, that's literally true. Studies show that common gum bacteria, such as Porphyromonas gingivalis, the cause of periodontitis, can enter the bloodstream through microscopic bleeding and lodge in the coronary artery walls. Once there, these bacteria form colonies protected by a sticky layer called a biofilm. Your immune system cannot easily destroy them, so it does what it knows best. It tries to wall off the enemy. The body sends cholesterol, fibrin, and calcium to build a barrier around these bacteria or viral particles embedded in the vessel wall. What we see on imaging as a fatty plaque is often the site of a chronic immune battle. Cholesterol here acts as a repair agent and even has antimicrobial properties. Yes, you heard that right. LDL can neutralize bacterial toxins. The problem is that if the infection or insult is constant, the bandage grows so large it obstructs blood flow. In 15 years of practice, I've lost count of how many patients with impeccable lifestyles still develop coronary plaque due to silent inflammation from an untreated root canal infection or severe gut dysbiosis. When your gut is leaky gut syndrome, bacterial fragments called lipopolysaccharides, LPS, enter the bloodstream and trigger systemic inflammation that attacks the endothelium. Your arteries are the bumper for every toxin circulating in your body. Seeing plaque as a bandage completely changes treatment. If you simply lower cholesterol with medication, but fail to treat periodontitis, dysbiosis, or chronic infection, you're removing the building material while the fire keeps burning. True cardiovascular medicine seeks to extinguish the fire. Understanding that your immune system is trying to protect your vessels is a key to stopping the fight against your own body and starting to remove the real sources of aggression. Plaque is a symptom of a body under constant attack. The question I hear every day in my office is, "Doctor, can plaques be reversed?" The short answer is that we can stabilize them and in many cases, reduce their size and danger. The first step is to stop the assault. There's no point mopping the floor if the faucet is still running. That means eliminating refined vegetable oils and processed sugar immediately. By lowering your insulin, you remove the fuel of arterial inflammation and allow your endothelium to resume producing protective nitric oxide. The second step is strategic macro and micronutrition. You need stable fats like extra virgin olive oil, rich in polyphenol that protect LDL from oxidation. Smart supplementation is also your greatest ally. Vitamin K2 -7 Malawian kwaches, combined with magnesium, is essential for removing calcium from arteries and returning it to bones. Don't forget B-complex support to keep homocysteine low, ensuring that chemical sandpaper stops damaging your vessels. The third pillar is restorative lifestyle. Quality sleep is when your glymphatic system and endothelium perform deep maintenance. Strength training, interestingly, stimulates the production of new endothelial cells and improves insulin sensitivity. Managing stress through breathing techniques or meditation lowers cortisol, a powerful agent of arterial wear and tear. Finally, monitor plaque stability with imaging tests, such as carotid ultrasound. A stable, calcified plaque is far less dangerous than a soft, inflamed one. Your body has an incredible capacity for self-healing, provided you stop supplying the triggers of destruction and start supplying the building blocks of repair. The plan is not about deprivation, but about restoring your heart's biological intelligence. Starting today, your understanding of what causes arterial plaque has changed forever. You now know that your heart is not a victim of cholesterol, but a reflection of how you manage your metabolism and immune system. Plaques are not accidents. They are signs of the body trying to defend itself from constant assaults like glycation, oxidation, and nutritional deficiency. Do not let yourself be paralyzed by fear of an isolated lab number. True power lies in keeping your endothelium intact, your insulin low, and your system free of inflammation. I'm Dr. Harrison Blake, and for 15 years my mission has been to translate medical complexity into freedom for you. If this video opened your eyes, share it with someone you love. Like, subscribe, and remember, your heart beats for the truth. See you in the next video.